Gauteng Education MEC Matome Chiloane joins us now for more on this. MEC, good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening to you and good evening to your viewers.
I mean, a very sad story, MEC, that we're talking about. I mean, listening to the mother who has just lost a child, and as the story unfolded, understanding and hearing that those who are, I guess, charged with taking care of our children within the school premises might be responsible for his death is quite disheartening. From your perspective as MEC, how do you view this, and particularly looking at the report that has come out today?
First, it's quite disappointing that really the report has come out in this particular fashion, mainly because our educators are well trained to deal with situations such as this, where there's learner altercations, etc. And they're also aware of the importance of conducting themselves with utmost professionalism, respecting the law, respecting the rights of our children, protecting our children at all times. So the fact that we're here and the report has come out to identify a set of educators to be responsible for this incident is really disheartening for ourselves as a department.
Now, let's talk about the report itself. I mean, obviously, having looked at it, what will the way forward be then, from your perspective or from your office as MEC, into, one, discipline of those that are found guilty on this, but also, MEC, to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again?
Yes, hopefully with the actions that will be taken, obviously in relation to the implementation that will be undertaken with regard to the recommendations as per the law firm. Obviously we have an implementation plan and how the process will unfold. And we anticipate to conclude this thing within the next 3 months or so. Secondly, we are hoping that obviously we want this to also send a message to other educators as well, that this type of behavior will not be tolerated in our schools. They are role models, they are parents, they are educators. They should always demonstrate at the highest level of conduct when it relates to children and protect them all the time. So we are hoping that obviously this is a lesson to also those who are currently or will find themselves in such a situation. And thirdly, obviously, it's a lesson for us as a department that obviously we need to do more in terms of awareness, training, and with regard to anti-bullying, and also basically teaching and upskilling our own educators, or rather the education body, in relation to obviously such as still handling such sensitive matters such as these ones, and really protecting rights in the main of the learners at all times.
Well, what does this implementation plan, MEC, involve that you're talking about, that it's going to be happening over the next couple of months?
The first one, obviously, within our legal division, we will be then be instituting charges, and the report, the findings are very specific on who gets charged for what. So we will be sending out those charges to those educators. In some instances, obviously, the report speaks about the suspension of one, and obviously we will enact that particular suspension. So that's the start of it. Because remember, the disciplinary process is guided by law, by certain pieces of legislation, and remember, everybody is protected by the labor law and the Educators Employers Employment Act as well. So all of those pieces of legislation will guide us on how we deal with this, with the implementation of that. But we have a plan. We've been down this road before, so we know how best to handle it.
Where are those educators now that are implicated? Are they still teaching? Are they still at the school?
One is not at the school, the deputy principal, because his charges are damning. The other three are still there, but we will look into the probability. We're still looking into it. Most probably, we will also request them not to be moved from the school. But it's something that we're looking at. Remember, before we move a person or an individual from their position, we look at a number of factors. That includes the probability of interference with regard to their case. So if the person does not demonstrate that, most of the time we let them continue in their position. But if we do get a sense that there is a particular interference and a disruption on the process, we then have to suspend them until the conclusion of that case.
So when you say move them from the school, are you talking about suspending them or taking them to another? Just to clarify there, when you say move them, MEC?
No, most cases we take them to report to the district up until the case is concluded, depending on the gravity as well of the situation. Sometimes, obviously, we then suspend them to make sure that they stay at home. They don't come and report anywhere. But in most cases, generally, we take them to report to the district on a daily basis, because they are getting paid. They are still getting paid in suspension, so we don't want people to get paid for doing nothing. Yeah.
Are you not worried, though, MEC, that they are still within the premises where, I guess, the crime, if I can use that in brackets with all due respect, has been committed and also being in contact with other learners?
I wouldn't say that. Obviously, we are waiting. We'll monitor the situation rather. We'll monitor closely the impact thereof. Because remember, obviously, the principal is a very senior person in the school. Obviously, removing them will also impact on the overall functioning of the school. We are aware of that. But that is not a fear. Let me just clarify that we are not fearful of that, because we do have sufficient capacity within the system to actually close the gap should that action be taken. So that's why I said earlier that we will also be looking at the report closely and coming up with a set of decisions with regard to should we move them or should we retain them in the school. But as things stand, we have moved one, the deputy principal, and then we'll deal with the other three on a later basis. Most probably we might move them as well. But obviously the merit will determine.
Going forward then, MEC, what then from your office is a key learning from this? Because it's one thing for kids to bully each other within a school premises, which is quite prevalent. We've seen this, it happens quite a lot. But for teachers to be instigators in this instance, how then from your office do we fix an issue like this to make sure that something like this doesn't happen? Because a family has lost a child. I mean, we were just hearing the mother there distraught because their child's dreams is gone simply because somebody just could not understand their sexuality, and somebody who is in a position of authority. What do we learn from this as government, if I can put it that way, to make sure that no other mother loses their child because of their sexual orientation?
Look, the important part about this is that obviously the learnings, the key learning is that it means that we need to have a greater awareness campaign throughout, especially in relation to the LGBTQI+, bringing them on board, educating obviously upskilling our educators and also the schooling board in general. But we do have this program, anti-bullying program, that is running across our school across. And this school, for one, has confirmed that we did receive the anti-bullying training, but the school did not implement that policy. That's one of the findings, and which is a big problem. Because if they had implemented it, then it would have been, I'm sure the educators would have been able to be guided somehow. So it was never implemented, irrespective of the training that they received. So we will be looking into that. But greatly is an appeal and awareness that educators have a key responsibility. Our kids are going through a lot. We know that our society in general is going through a lot, and our kids are quite sensitive, and we need at all times to be sensitive when dealing with these fragile human beings. So this is what we have learned a lot. But at the center as well, the deterrence, the way we handle this case, it should also be able to act as a deterrent to also others, that if you do this, this is what's going to happen. And it varies. The outcome, obviously, post-disciplinary hearing will vary up to dismissal as well. And it's really not a position that anybody with this situation in our society with unemployment would want to find yourself being. So we will be very strong. But from us, we're not fearful, and we'll not be doing anybody favors. We will stick to the book from start to end, and we will measure the necessary outcome and punishment, if I can say, lack of a better word.
And what about the learners, MEC, classmates, learners at the school who I guess might be now be affected psychologically about the incident that happened at their school, that has happened to their classmate, who might also be members of the LGBTQIA community? Have you done anything to talk to them, to encourage the school psychologically and otherwise, because they might be living in fear now because of what happened to their classmate, their schoolmate?
We have a psychosocial unit that we dispatch every time we have an incident, and they've been spending some time in the school, and they'll spend some time up until the report. The report will be satisfactory that now we can leave the schooling environment is stabilized, because these are children. Remember, this is a primary school, and these kids, some of them don't even know what's happening. But they know that somebody had passed on, and they see a lot of movement within the school, and that can be very difficult for our children to experience. But however, because of the intervention that we've done, we've ensured that we have put in that team there on a regular basis to go and monitor, but also provided support to the family as well of specifics. Also counseling, etc., in terms of, so that we can continue to support them, because it is a difficult thing that they're experiencing. It's a difficult period as well.
All right, MEC, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for coming through to speak to us, MEC of Education in Gauteng, MEC Matome Chiloane.